I will try my best to answer. We don't. Our homes aren't as much built as they're grown. The spinners sing to the trees, who coil their bark and leaves into cozy little pods. This is Ifre's gift to us. I approve of your choice of attire. Later, then.
I'm right behind you. Good afternoon.
You've got a lot of nerve showing yourself in this town again. What do you have to say for yourself? Sorry's not good enough. Not while my Gleda's still out there alone and afraid. You kidnapped her and sold her to that giant. You're damn right it does. I'll never breed another prize-winning goat like Gleda. And don't you think of coming back to Rorikstead until you get her back from that giant.
I don't like to brag. I once took down a bear at 300 yards.
Are you joking? You couldn't hit a mammoth.
Fine, but I'll still be missing my Gleda.
I don't have to take that.
Doubt I'll ever have a prize-winning goat again. Most of what you said was gibberish, but you left a note. The only bit I could read was after repaying Isolde in Whiterun. You said a whole lot of nonsense about selling Gleda to hire a priestess for some big event. There was a bit of talk about some staff you had in safekeeping. Never said where, but you sure didn't have it with you.
We're honest, hard-working folk here, and we don't suffer beggars or thieves. Do I detect a bit of jealousy in your tone? I would hardly blame you. What calling could be more noble than this? I see in your eyes that you think I jest. I assure you I don't. I am proud, and rightfully so, of the work we do here. Working the soil with your hands, seeing your seeds take root and grow, tending a herd. There is a joy in honest labor you won't find elsewhere. You are pleasant company. More than pleasant. And what about you? Would you be interested in a life together?
Name's Ennis. If you've got friends who do business in Whiterun, they might.
How can I help?
We'll pay whatever it takes, but we must have more swords for the Imperial soldiers.
I just can't fill an order that size on my own. Why don't you swallow that
You know,
stubborn pride
this
of
is
yours
usually
and ask
what happens
Yorland
when we have
Greymane
too
for
much
help?
I wouldn't do that.
I'd sooner bend my knee to
happens to the
Ulfric's
best of us.
Stormcloak.
Hello?
Besides, Greymane would never make steel for the Legion.
Have it your way. I'll
Go
take
ahead.
the job, but don't expect a miracle.
With the amount of murdering you and I do on a daily basis, it gets difficult to honor that particular part of the mandate. But I make an effort to devour at least a part of every foe I slay, even if it's just the heart or the liver. I can only pray that pleases Ifrei. Certainly. Ifrei's blessings. If you have time, I'd like to visit the Drunken Huntsman for some arrows. Elvindir and Honoria are the only ones who sell bow and arrows around here.
I'm right behind you.
Here I am. Ifrei's blessings.
Hello, friend. In the market for some hunting supplies? What are you hunting? Never mind. I don't want to know. Yes, I hear that question often. My brother Honoriath and I came up with it one night after consuming rather too much mead. After our drinks, we went out for a moonlight hunt. We got separated, and in his drunken state, my brother mistook me for a deer. He shot an arrow that pierced my, well, rump. After such a memorable adventure, we knew we had the name for our shop. Try Hulda, the innkeeper at the Bannered Mare. It's just up the road near the market. You should check in at Dragon's Reach too. There's so much going on these days. The Jarl or his steward might have need of help. Thank you very much for your business. I'll be happy to assist you if you'd like to purchase something.
Blade and shadow, silence and death. These are my arts. For a modest fee, I'll make great art for you. I know nothing of fear and nothing of remorse. Pay my fee, and together we will vanquish any foe. He isn't unlike the Red Guard nobles in Hammerfell. Self-absorbed, pretentious, and all the while incompetent. He was a fool to have refused my offer. Many seek his demise, and I will enjoy watching his downfall from the shadows. People like him can never survive without people like us. My song tells of a frozen death, and my painting is inked by my enemy's blood. My own past bears no significance. I am but the brush of my own art, and the purpose of my existence is to serve it. Let's revel in my art.
Still here.
If you have need of hunting supplies, then you've come to the right place.
Still here. Still here. I'm right behind you.
We sell both.
Lead on.
A unique combination, to be sure.
Well met, traveler.
So, you're finally back. Look, I've been patient, but you still owe me. I heard... Farewell. It's a sacred tree in Whiterun. Can we go see the sacred tree? Please?
I spend a lot of time at the market stall so I can learn the merchant's trade. I need more experience if I'm... to run an inn someday. Once I've made enough money trading with the Khajiit caravans, I'm going to buy the bannered mare from Hulda. It's not about the money, really. I wouldn't have given you the wedding ring on credit if you weren't so obviously in love. But if there isn't going to be a wedding, the least you can do is give the ring back. That was one of my best pieces. You went right out to give it to your fiancée. Don't you even remember where you left her? And after you told me that sweet story of how you met in Witchmist Grove, I can see why she left you.
Finest cuts, fresh from the wilds.
I'm sure your bride-to-be will tell you when and where the ceremony will be. If she still wants to marry you when you tell her you can't afford the ring. I think I would prefer my ring back. I put a lot of time into making it, and you just gave it away as a joke.
Chops and steaks fit for a jarl.
How could you forget? It was the sweetest story I'd ever heard. You met at the full moon, under the biggest tree in Witchmist Grove, surrounded by fireflies. It was straight out of a storybook. Farewell.
If someone's bothering you, point me at them, and I'll teach them to disrespect you. With my fangs. Okay.
I spend a lot of time at the market stall so I can learn the merchant's trade.
Finest cuts, fresh from the wilds. Oh yes, hunting is my great passion. That's why my brother and I opened a shop to sell hunting supplies. It's the Drunken Huntsman down by the main gate. He tends the store, and I've got this stall. Good hunting.
Greetings, Sister Al. Good to see a familiar face so far from home.
Tired of bread and stew. Had enough of fish and fowl.
Well met, traveler. What brings you to Whiterun?
Look, I...
Don't start. Save it for Ifrei.
A pity. And words I hear too often. But there's no shame in it. One of them dragons comes calling in Whiterun. The place will go up like tinder. May your sword be sharp, and your tongue sharper.
Your bad habit of eating plant matter is beginning to affect your archery, Fendel.
I don't like to brag, but I once took down a bear at 300 yards. In a blizzard.
Are you joking? You couldn't hit a mammoth if it was standing on top of you.
I don't have to take that from you.
Hello? Certainly. I'd love to. What would you like to hear about? In Morrowind, there was a nobleman by the name of Kelmeral Bryn, who had a very definitive view of how things should be done. Whenever he purchased a new slave, he had them whipped in the courtyard for 1 to 3 hours. Few slaves ever had to be whipped more than once. As the memory of their first day and the sights and sounds of other slaves' first days stayed with them throughout their lives. When Bryn bought his first Bosma slave, he ordered his castellan to whip him only for 1 hour. The Bosma, which Bryn had named Dob, seemed so much more delicate than his other slaves. He was clearly not suited for work in the fields, but looked presentable enough for domestic work. Dob did his work quietly and tolerably well. Bryn occasionally had to correct him by refusing him food, but the punishment never needed to go further. Whenever guests arrived at the plantation, the sight of the exotic and elegant addition to Bryn's household staff always impressed them. It was during this time that Bryn decided to take advantage of Dob's skills in archery and ordered him to tutor his son, Wodillik. For the first few days, the master watched Wodillik and Dob to be certain that the slave knew how to teach. He was pleased to see the boy learn the grips and the different stances. A month later, when he came once more to check on his son's progress, he saw Dob guiding Wodillik to shoot his arrow up into the air, high above the targets. "What nonsense is this?" Bryn snarled. "What about accuracy? You haven't taught my son a single thing about marksmanship."
Terrible and powerful Talos, we, your unworthy servants, give praise, for only through your grace.
Dob bowed humbly. "Sedura, first Master Wodillik must become comfortable with the weapon before he need worry about accuracy. We learn this by watching the arrow arc in different winds." Bryn's face turned purple with fury. "I'm not a fool," he raged. "I should have known not to trust a slave with my boy's education." The master grabbed Dob and shoved him toward the plantation house. Dob, head down, began the humble, shuffling walk he had learned in his domestic duties. Wodillik, tears streaming down his face, tried to follow. "You stay and practice," roared his father. "Try aiming at the target itself, not at the sky. You are not coming back into the house until you do it." The boy tearfully returned to practice, while Bryn brought Dob into the courtyard and called for his whip. Dob suddenly broke away and scrambled to hide between some barrels in the center of the yard. Bryn began to bring down the whip down on his exposed back again and again. Wodillik's miserable wail drifted from the courtyard. "I can't, father. I can't hit it." "Master Wodillik," Dob cried back as loud as he could, his voice shaking with pain. "Keep your left arm straight and aim slightly east. The wind has changed." "Stop confusing my son," Bryn screamed. "You'll be in the sultry fields if I don't beat you to death first, like you deserve." As Bryn's whip rained blows down upon Dob, Wodillik's arrow sailed high before coming down in a magnificent arc. Bryn tasted the blood before he realized he'd been hit. Gingerly, he raised his hands and felt the arrowhead protruding out of the back of his neck. He looked at Dob crouching under a wagon and thought he saw a thin smile cross the slave's lips. Just for an instant before he died, Bryn saw the face of an untamed wood elf on Dob. "Bullseye, Master Wodillik," Dob crowed. Later, then.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Yes, my friend.
It's a shame, isn't it? This is the Gilder Green. It was planted as a seedling in the early years of Whiterun. Disciples of Kynareth could sense something holy in it, and traveled far to hear the winds of the goddess in its branches. They built the temple. Of course. Not as many pilgrims these days.
You walked among us, great Talos. Not
Grace of Kinnereth be with you.
as man. But you were once man. And as man, you said, "Let me show you the
It's a shame, isn't it?
horn of the north, where my bread
Here I am.
It's a shame, isn't it?
now in royal and reshape this land."
I know your family's honor is important to you, but we can't afford it.
It took me weeks to find that thieves' den. I can't stop now, and I can't get the sword on my own.
So you're willing to starve your wife and daughter to reclaim some rusty old sword?
I just need to hire one, maybe two good men. You won't starve.
I'll put it plainly. You can claim your sword, or you can keep your wife. If you set foot outside that gate, I won't be here when you return.
Oh, it took years, but I
What's the
earned my way
matter?
to the top.
You can't stand
I
the
own
sight of a
Chilforo
strong
Farm, you
Nord
see.
woman?
Wait.
Very successful business, obviously.
Yeah, take care.
Easy so.
You tried mercenary work? It might suit you.
I miss the days when the Greymanes and Battleborns got along. Ever since the war started, we've been at each other's throats. Well, yes. Why wouldn't I be? Are you interested in me? I'd bet. Get going.
Here I am. This is not the time. Ask me again when we're somewhere safe. Okay.
Darling, I've been waiting for you to return, to consummate our love. What? You want it for that hussy Esmeralda with the dark feathers, don't you? I won't let her have you.
Here we go again.
I work with my mother, sell fruits and vegetables. It's fun most days, hard work.
Ripe fruit and fresh vegetables for sale.
Did you know there are some fruits that actually grow better in the cold weather?
Fresh baked
Once I've made enough money trading with the Khajiit caravans, I'm going to buy the bannered mare from Hulda. Excellent. Sorry it didn't work out. I know how excited you were for the wedding. You kept saying it would be a huge ceremony at Morvenskar. You said you even had some magic staff that would handle all of the guests. Farewell.
Is someone there?
If someone's bothering you, point me at them, and I'll teach them to disrespect you with my fangs.
I've got your back. Let's get going then.
So, Vale, is it?
Greetings, Sister Elf. Good to see a familiar face so far from home.
I am not your sister, Salad Eater. I know you spend your days chopping wood, so don't even try to compare me to yourself.
Look, I...
All day and night. What do I do?
You
I
work the forge.
Why do they need me to do this? We use magic, not weapons.
What was that?
Death comes for you. It's clear. Your bad habit of eating plant matter is beginning to affect your archery, Fedor.
I don't like to brag, but I once took down a bear at 300 yards. You know,
I never should have come here.
At your service. Food. Later, then.
You're here. I was beginning to think you might not make it. I thought you might not remember your first trip here. You had a big night. I think you've definitely earned the staff. Oh, the Hagraven feather and so on. You can throw all those out. You see, I really just needed something to encourage you to go out into the world and spread merriment. And you did just that. I haven't been so entertained in at least 100 years. I am Sanguine, Daedric Prince of Debauchery. I know. How could I lie to you? Well, how could I trust you until we've shared a few drinks? But it wasn't long before I realized you'd make a more interesting bearer of my not-quite-holy staff than this waste of flesh. Let's be honest here. I don't always think my decisions through. But you're going places. Maybe a little influence from your old Uncle Sanguine could help adjust your course a bit. My pleasure. But I think it's time for you to go. No fun keeping you locked up in here with the staff.
I have to say,
Spare some gold for a veteran?
If you need a good rumor or two, I think I can oblige. Come on in, just stoke the fire. Take a seat and get the cold out.
Sometimes you really get on my nerves, you know.
if you need me, I'm here. Later, then.